I 100%ed Expedition 33, here's my honest review in 2 minutes or less. The story was the most engaging story I've ever seen. I'm not usually one to dive into a world head first, but I jumped from a 50-foot diving board for this one. I didn't know whether to cry or clap, so I did both. I'm a sucker for morally gray areas where you're unsure which side is the right side, and they did a fantastic job portraying that story. 10 out of 10. My game crashed around 20 times total, and I have a pretty good PC. However, since it autosaves every 5 seconds, it's not that big of a deal, just annoying. For the technical state, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's a turn-based game, and when people hear that, they immediately become deaf. This game, however, does not feel turn-based, and I can't stress that enough. You don't just sit there for the enemies to unload their 84 backshot combo into you. You can parry and dodge almost every attack in this game, and you can speed through your turn once you know your moveset. A quick tip to dodge feint attacks: you can close your eyes to avoid hits because they always give a sound cue before attacking. This is the fastest turn-based game I have ever seen. I rate the gameplay 10 out of 10. The game's difficulty feels well balanced on the intended setting. Most fights become manageable once you learn the parry timings and get used to their feints. If the game does become too hard, you can always outlevel the area, but that depletes all the dopamine you would have had if you just parry every swing. Also would highly recommend not using one-shot builds you find online. It makes the game unfun and takes away the creativity. I rate the difficulty 7 out of 10 for casual gamers. You can have some really creative builds in this game, and a big reason for that are the different categories you control: Pictos, Luminas, weapon effects, skills, and attributes. The synergies between them all can stack and make for very unique playstyles. If you find a weapon effect or Picto or learn a skill you really like, you can have other categories support that build and it usually works. If not, pretty easy to reset your build and find one that does. As you fight more monsters, you level up and get stronger in the process. It feels refreshing not being forced to constantly hunt monsters to level up just so you can be bosses. I rate the progression 9 out of 10. The music is god tier, genuinely the best OST I've ever heard. If they don't already win a lot of the awards, this one is guaranteed. I rate the music 10 out of 10. The game is peak and one of the best stories you'll ever experience. The main story took me 40 hours and 60 hours to complete all the other achievements. It's definitely worth $50 or it's free on Game Pass. Overall rating 9.5 out of 10.